Mr. Hefner,
Here.
Mr. Hohenschultz,
Here.
Mrs. Hune,
Here.
Mr. Reitenauer,
Here.
Mr. Sheets,
Here.
Mr. Stubit,
Here.
Mrs. Wallizer,
Mrs. Waller's on her way. She's actually caught in a traffic accident.
Mr. Wagaman,
Here. So this evening, thank you for everyone being here this evening. We have a bunch of recognitions, but before we get to the actual school board meeting, this evening we do another meeting called a reorganization meeting. It's a meeting that's required by the school code, and so what happens during the reorganization meeting is it allows the board to select the officers for this next calendar year. So we'll go through a process, a lot of formal procedures and proceedings, but we'll go through a process to select the next president, vice president, and then committees for the school board that will serve for the 2025 year. For the school board, just some procedural notes. You have two agendas in front of you. One is the reorganization meeting, and then one's the regular agenda. So if you could just make sure you're looking at the correct one. There are some procedural organizational notes that are here. Once we start the temporary president first, then we'll move to the president and then move to vice president. And any of those, anytime there's a nomination for somebody, there has to be a second. So if someone says, I nominate so-and-so for the role of temporary president, someone else has to second that for that person to be official. If it's not second, it doesn't count. If there's only one person nominated, so if we go through temporary president and only one person is nominated for that, then we do an all-call vote, all in favor of temporary president, and you say yay or nay, and then any opposed, and we'll go forward that way. If there's more than one nomination, then we'll actually go through a roll call, and you name the person that you want to be that person in that role. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so the first thing we will is start with the temporary president, and I'll turn it back over to Mr. Wagaman. Just one note, if everyone can just make sure you use your microphones so that we can pick that up on the this evening.
All righty. Could we get a motion to nominate a temporary president?
So move Sheets.
Second right now.
Are you motioning for?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm motioning for Mr. Wagaman. Sorry.
Sorry.
Temporary president. Temporary president. Yeah. I'm sorry. I need more carbs.
Have you ever done this before?
I'll second it. Twice.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving right along. B.
now we're doing election.
All right.
President.
Now, a motion for a motion to open the floor to nominate for someone for president. Holy smokes.
I've been Mike Wagman.
Hune seconds.
Are there any other nominations? Can I get a motion to close the nominations?
Motion to close.
Oh, you don't need it?
Second.
All right, sorry.
Aye.
Perfect, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on here. Thank you, everyone. All right, Vice President, can I get a motion and a second to open the nominations?
Motion Alexis Eisenhart.
Hune seconds.
Any other nominations? Hearing none. Could I get all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you, Alexis. All right. Now we have delegate positions. So the first one is the Berks County Income Tax Collection Bureau, which is currently held by Ms. Delgarico. If there is no one else who is interested or opposed, Delgarico, are you still interested?
I'll be your alternate.
Watch what you wish for.
Never think to take that away from Mrs. Moss. Okay, so
And just as a backstory on that, Mrs. Lamastra was a former board member. She currently serves in this role for other townships in our district, and that's why we have her as, even though she's a community member, as our voting backup, because she already is there at the meeting supporting other townships.
All right, sounds like that will be status quo there. So we have Berks County Committee on Legislative Action is currently held by Mrs. Walliser. No one else interested in that. We will.
what time in the meeting?
7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Yeah, like 7 to 10 once a quarter over at the BCIU main office.
If Miss Walliser isn't interested in that, I can do that.
I don't think that she's not interested, but you're really. I mean, you're.
That's loaded. That's a loaded. Wait, is
I
that
think
Miss
she
Dexter?
is.
I don't know what my definition of is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So if we will leave Laura in that, if everyone's okay with that, unless John has a dying desire to.
no, I can just do that. I work nights, so I'll be coming off the nights. I'll be able to go to that. If she doesn't want to do it, I can step into it. It's not a problem.
All right, District Policy Committee. Mr. Wright, now, are you still interested in
Yes.
continuing? Thank you, sir. Strategic planning and goals. Mrs. Eisenhart.
Yes.
Compensation Committee. Mrs. Eisenhart.
Yes.
Buildings and Grounds is currently me.
Yes.
I guess I'll say yes to that. I'll stay in that role.
Congratulations.
We have Mr. Strohecker for District Safety and Security Administrator.
I don't even think he gets to say
Yeah,
no,
that's
though.
not what
He
it was.
does not.
There's
That
actually
is an
no question
appointment.
mark there. So
Congratulations.
thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Yeah, there was no blank. So, and this is Eeg for District Title IX Coordinator. All right, moving on to Mrs. Hune for BCIU for a 3-year term ending in 2020, June 30th. Mr. Reitnauer for BCTC and Mr. Sheets as the alternate. And we have Mr. Nolan Staub as representative for Berks Vocational Technical School Authority until 2026.
John is the treasurer.
I missed that.
Number 11.
Oh yeah, number 11. Mr. Sheets is the treasurer. You're okay to continue in that role, I hope.
Absolutely.
Okay, can we get a motion to approve and a second?
Before we do that, I did get a message back that Laura's still interested in Cola.
Perfect. Sorry, John.
I'll find a way. Pat.
I motion to approve the aforementioned delegate appointments.
Hune seconds.
And get a roll call, please.
Mrs. Eisenhart,
Yes.
Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Hohenschel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hune,
Yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Yes.
Mr. Sheets,
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz,
Yes.
and Mr. Wagman.
Yes. All right, moving on to meeting dates. Can I get a motion to approve the 2025 board calendar? A second.
Second.
Already attached, you have proposed meeting schedule for 2025.
So the meeting schedule, we have added the Dine to Discover events that have been that we started this past spring. It seems like that's been working pretty well. So we embedded 3 of those into this calendar for this upcoming year. One will be in January. That one was kind of already slated for this year. We have another one April 7th. That seemed to be a later school board meeting, so we'll do it before that meeting. And then the one in November, this past November, last meeting seemed to work pretty well. So we slated it for next November as well. So those 3 are on there. The school board meetings are the pretty fairly routine scheduled school board meetings. The only couple that are kind of out of sequence are the June one. We do that one on June 9th because of the 30 days to ensure between the preliminary final and the final budget adoption. The August 11th one, we do that before school starts. And then September 8th is the Monday after Labor Day. So that's why that one's off a little bit. The 3 budget sessions that are scheduled, there is the sequence that we've been using the last few years, which is the curriculum instruction, technology, special education, instructional budget. That's going to be on February 3rd. That will be held an hour before the school board meeting. So 5 to 6, and then 6 p.m. will be the school board meeting. We will have light dinner provided. Monday, March 3rd, same idea. The budget work session for maintenance, transportation, business, the board budget will be that 5 to 6 prior to the 6 p.m. actual meeting. And then April 14th, it's a standalone budget work session. That's usually the heaviest one, and that's the salary and benefits budget work session. This is the format that was proposed and used last year. It seemed to work pretty well. And so we adopted that to make this calendar for this coming year as a recommendation.
Any questions or concerns?
That 14th meeting is over spring break too, right?
And we typically try to avoid having board meetings on nights when students weren't in class during the day.
That April 14th is the first Monday. All staff are still working. So we typically use that day. But we can adjust it if you'd like to. We could make it the 21st would be off, but we could make it the 28th, which would put it right before the budget adoption.
Does that,
Does it have to be a Monday?
Does it have to be a
night?
Monday?
No, we could do another night. So there's this, looking at the calendar, that the Monday before, this, which would be the 7th, there actually is a school board meeting. So we'd either have to do 2 that in 1 week, which probably isn't great, or that if we keep it on that 14th, it would essentially.
Why don't we just flex it to the 15th?
that's
No,
the whole week
that's
is
the
gone.
whole week
I-
is spring
I just
break.
assume
Is this
like
spring break.
we're not going to be here.
Does it have to
so
be
I don't
before
know.
that meet? Does it have to be after that?
Don't put it around
the
me, I guess. So
April meeting, or can it be before?
We've traditionally done it either
Yeah.
way.
Could do it before.
Like
We
if
could
we
do
did
it
it
on
on
the
the
30,
2nd,
the
it's salary.
31st,
Or on the Tuesday?
or that Tuesday, that 1st, the 2nd.
That working? The second of
April.
April, it's a Tuesday?
That actually,
Wednesday.
that's a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's fine with me.
Does April 2nd work for everyone's schedule? Does that work for your class schedule?
That's why I said Wednesday.
Excuse smart thinking, sir. You know more than I do. All right, so just to clarify, all the other dates will hold. Monday, April 14th will be crossed out, and that'll be Monday, April 2nd.
Wednesday.
Thank you. Wednesday, April 2nd for the budget work session for salary and benefits. Okay,
Perfect.
thank you, everyone.
Right, no other questions or concerns? Hearing none, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Hohenschult,
Yes.
Mrs. Hune,
Yes.
Mr. Reitenour,
Yes.
Mr. Sheets,
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Eisenhart,
Yes.
Mr. Wagman,
Yes. All right, is there any public comment in regards to the reorganization meeting? Hearing none, any board discussion in regards to the reorg meeting? None, could I get a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting in a second?
So move Sheets.
All right,
Thank you, everyone. After that awkwardness.
yeah, that was
It's always
groovy.
awkward.
all right. Moving on to Brainerd Heights Area School District School Board meeting for December 3rd. Yeah, could I get a roll call again, please?
Mrs. Eisenhart. Here. Mr. Hefner,
Here.
Mr. Hohenschult.
Here.
Mrs. Hune,
Here.
Mr. Reitenour,
Here.
Mr. Sheets,
Here.
Mr. Stubitz.
Here.
Mr. Wagman.
Here. All right. Moving on to recognitions. Mr. Pottinger, the floor is yours.
Perfect. So we have a couple recognitions to present this evening. The first one is for an Apple Award. So if I can have Erica Whalen to come up. Unfortunately, Miss Kelly is not here this evening. She is home with the stomach bug, so we'll let her be home with the stomach bug. This is an opportunity for us to recognize Erica. I'm going to share what the Apple Award is and then why she was nominated. This award is presented to an educator in our state for exceptional efforts in teaching that support educational excellence. It recognizes members of the educational community who make a positive difference in the lives of students, school districts, and communities. This is a recognition directly from the state. It says Erica Whalen was nominated for the following. Erica is a wonderful teacher who is determined to help her students reach new heights. She continues to evolve as an educator to continue to provide excellent educational experiences for all the students who are in her classroom. She looks at each student as an individual and provides personalized learning opportunities based on their strengths, weaknesses, experience, and interest. She creates a learning experience in which all students love to come to and feel comfortable in. She has high expectations for all students and will bend over backwards in order to help them reach their personalized goals. While being a rock star teacher is a large percentage of her job, she is also a team leader. She remains open-minded, is a positive and patient problem solver, and is always happy to help you with whatever you need. She is involved with extracurriculars outside the school and always represents Brandywine with a smile. She's a great leader in our district who not only teaches, but inspires, changes, and positively impacts everyone that she comes in contact with. It's a beautiful summary of who you are as a person, but also a teacher. It's been so neat watching Erica. If you don't know, she was one of our math teachers here in the middle school, 7th, 8th grade math teacher, and did a phenomenal job in that role. And a couple years ago, how many years has it been now?
This is my
Fifth year. She came and said, "I'm looking for a change," and went from 8th grade math to 2nd grade, and has done a phenomenal job. It's so neat to walk in her classroom and see the organization, the routine, but the joy and love that she brings to the classroom. It creates such an awesome atmosphere. And this Apple Award completely summarizes that. And a huge congratulations. I have a little gift for you. Here is your Apple Award, because I have to admit, this is what was given to us, and it said at the bottom, each awardee has been sent an Apple certificate suitable for framing. So I was like, that's so we decided to do something a little bit nicer. And so a 2004 Apple Award recipient with your name and then why you were nominated.
Thank you very much. That's
Congratulations.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
So next up, we always like to do our New Heights Awards. That is essentially like our Employees of the Month. We get a whole host of nominations each month, and they get to select 2 people. Both individuals happen to be coming from the intermediate middle school. And if you know anything behind the background, that's usually a big competition between the principals of who gets it. So, Mr. Romberger, you win this time. But first up, if we could have Mackenzie come up here. Mackenzie is our first recipient. Mackenzie is our intermediate school administrative assistant. She's been doing that role for the last few years. She was previously working in the library and has done a phenomenal job. She is the face of the intermediate middle school. If anyone comes in as a visitor, she's the happy person that is always there. Such a wonderful, warm personality. And here is why Mackenzie was recognized. Mackenzie consistently goes above and beyond in her role, making her an indispensable part of our intermediate school team. She is not just our secretary, but she is the backbone of our daily operations. She solves problems, fixes printers, locates any information we need. She does so much behind the scenes, ensuring that our team can focus on what matters most, supporting our students. Mackenzie's dedication and hard work does not go unnoticed. We generally could not function without her support. I think I can speak for my team in 5th grade when I say that we are grateful for everything she does for our school. So congratulations, Mackenzie. And Mr. Romberger has a few comments to share on your behalf.
Appreciate the floor, guys. Just absolutely a phenomenal secretary that we have in our office. I mean, I have 2 honestly great secretaries. You're one of them, and she makes the world of everything that we do at this school just so much easier. She's the first person people see when they come in the office. She gets things for people that are just, they don't even ask for them. The best way I can explain it is this: I can be thinking about needing something, and she has already put it on my desk, or has already made the phone call, or has already procured whatever solution I need. It's there. And she does the same thing for teachers, the same thing for students, the same thing for parents. And I think that's just a credit to you, and you're thinking one step ahead. And that's the most tremendous thing I've ever seen. And I truly mean when I say this, it's one of the best secretaries I've ever seen.
Next up, I would like to ask Mr. Donato to join me up here. Mr. Donato is our second recipient for the New Heights Award this month, and this is the reason why Mr. Donato was recognized. Matt goes above and beyond for the district. As a coworker, he will go out his way to help people any way he can. For one of my classes, he even took time out of his busy schedule to set up my fish tank. Not only did he help me set it up, but he encouraged me to take on the new initiative and support me in every way, every step of the way. This is for an initiative called Trout in Our Classroom, which is connected to a state initiative with the Fish Commission. So for his students, he is continually providing evolving educational experiences to students that go beyond the four walls of the classroom. As a parent of the kiddos in the district, I look forward to my kiddos being able to experience all he has to offer in the classroom. With his support, positive influence, and passion, the students, teachers, and district will continue to reach new heights. Congratulations.
Matt, you're absolutely phenomenal. I've told you this several times. My own kids are coming to the district, and my oldest daughter is going to have you as a teacher, and I just think that's so tremendously awesome. One of the first days that I was here, and I'm not speaking from a wealth of knowledge, it's about my 6th full week here, I think. But in the short amount of time that I was here, Matt, you took the kids out to do a riparian buff activity. That's together, right? Okay, is it MeWe, the funding for it, or something? Oh my gosh, they were planting trees outside, and I just thought that was so cool because I'm like, these kids are going to have their own family someday, and they're going to drive past here and they're going to go, I did that. Like I transformed this area and contributed to that. And to be able to say that they did that is just one of the coolest things. So that's a way of taking learning and building a bridge into the community with it, and something that they can see for the rest of their lives. And I just think that's so amazing what you do. Not just that, but everything that I've seen so far. So thank you for what you do.
I think everyone knows this, but Mr. Donato also serves as union president, and it is a complete joy to be able to work with him, honestly. And I say that because we have such a great working relationship, and it just helps to create a positive atmosphere for the school district. We're always able to problem solve. So above all the wonderful things he does as a teacher, he also is a leader in this school district and does a great job leading us forward in that way as well. So thank you, Matt. Finally, I know we're a little bit out of order, but since I'm up here, I'd like to ask Linda Reiner to come up here. Linda wanted to ride off into the sunset with no recognition, but we're going to bring her up. So Linda is our head cafeteria manager down in the intermediate middle school. She's been serving this district for 35 years in that role. It is amazing. She also has been doing a part-time job along the way the whole time. And so she has decided that it is time to hang up her apron, as they might say, and officially retire. So we have a plaque here for you, 35 years of dedicated service. And I know Nicole has a few words to share before I officially pawn this on to you.
So I was told 35 years, I get 35 minutes to talk about you. And then you can quietly go off into the sunset. But in all seriousness, 35 years of your life serving our school community. You've done it with passion, kindness, and an unwavering commitment to excellence. We would say your career started back on October 8th, 1990, and hopefully I got this right, according to your personnel file, at Rockland Elementary. In 1992, you made your move to the middle school. And then in 2003, you stepped into your current role as the head cook. A position that you took and have continued to take with immense pride and responsibility. But Linda's contributions don't stop in the kitchen. Many summers, and she must miss us, she also decides that she wants to work for the district, always showing that she's willing to go above and beyond to support the school and the district that she loves. And For me, my favorite part is your incredible sense of humor. Whether you're cracking a joke to brighten someone's day or dressing up in a costume for Halloween, you always know how to make us smile. Linda, your laughter, dedication, and incredible work ethic have made this school and the lives of everyone in it better in so many ways. As you retire, we hope you take with the same joy you've given us for all these years and pass it on to each and every person that you encounter in your next chapter. On behalf of the Brandywine Heights Area School District, thank you for everything. You will be deeply missed, but congratulations on your retirement.
So as we transition here, if I can just share a quick story. So this just talks to who she is as a person, a planner, and just that immense sense of understanding her role. So Veterans Day happened on a Monday this year, and she had the forethought to know that a squirrel was going to take the power out of this building, and was able to make the entire meal, or she had pre-cooked a lot of the turkey on Friday. So when we were able to still do that, the power came on about 10 o'clock. She had about 2 hours and pulled the whole thing together. But it's just that sense of organization and understanding, and that dedication that you always has done. And she was able to do that with a smile and served 150 veterans that day in a wonderful way. So thank you for everything you've done. It just shows your dedication. As Nicole said, we wish you the best of luck in your next chapter of your life.
Okay, moving on to student board representatives.
So this evening, we only have Kendra with us because the other three young ladies are all playing basketball, and there is a women's basketball game this evening. So we will just be doing a intermediate middle school report. So no pressure, but it's all on you.
Good evening, school board members, administration, teachers, and community members. The ISMS students and staff hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, taking time to reflect and be grateful for the people and opportunities that bring us joy each day. Our gratitude gobblers were created during a success circle lesson. They decorated our commons areas last month, but had taken down, and now the hallways have transformed into a winter wonderland. Each grade level hallway is a holiday themed for students and staff to enjoy during December. The hallways and common areas will be decorated in holiday themes such as Frozen, Grinch, Candy Cane Lane, and Gingerbread House. The student council and homerooms are participating in this fun activity. On December 17th, Santa will visit our school to deliver gifts to the 4th and 5th graders during lunch. The ISMS staff played a little joke on the students when all the adults in the building stood up to wearing plaid. It took a little time for us to figure out that the staff had held their first underground spirit day. This is when the staff planned their own spirit day, but the students do not know when it is or what the spirit day theme is. Now the students will have to wait and see what the teachers and staff have planned for December. Students participated in the Fall Bullet Proud Olympics on the half days before Thanksgiving break. Students who received Bullet Proud referrals were recognized, and those who received the top honor of Bullet Proud Hall of Fame played games to win prizes. The intermediate school's music concert will be held on Tuesday, December 10th at 7 p.m. And the middle school's music concert will be held on Thursday, December 12th at 7 p.m. We invite you to an evening of music by our talented students. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you.
You did say you were going to take a cookie on the way out. So, okay. Great job, Kendra. Thank you.
Is there any public comment? Oh, you sure can.
Am I allowed?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kenny. I'm Kendra's mom. I work for the intermediate unit. I work in the professional development department. And I just want to second everything you said about Mr. Donato. He is amazing. I've done some trainings in the STEM and STEEL, and I've been working with a lot of teachers across Berks County. And the shift in thinking around how students learn science has been a challenge for a lot of educators in a lot of districts. And I've seen, my daughter had him last year, I've seen how he's done it, and I've been so impressed. So I just wanted to take a minute to say that I second all of what you said about him. I totally agree. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to Board of Directors report. Can I get a motion in a second?
Second, Eisenhower.
All right, so we have a couple items under Board of Directors report this evening. Any comments or suggestions for the meeting minutes from November 4th? Those were Gina's first meeting minutes.
Nice job.
We also have policies. We have a series of second reading policies that were presented in November. Any adjustments, changes, corrections for those that set of policies? Okay. Item C is to approve first reading policies. So this is a new batch of policies. There are 5 that we're presenting this evening. There are a few that have a couple updates. I just want to go and point out to you. The weapons policy, in particular, 218.1, that includes some PSBA updates. Most of that is definition changes, and specifically, there's a lot of additions to now having the threat assessment team part of any kind of weapons concern. The threat assessment team is now something that is required by the Department of Education, that we have to have a threat assessment team in each for each school district. So we do have a threat assessment team. When you look at the policy 218.2, terroristic threats, that is a very similar update as well, PSBA, and that also includes the language for threat assessment teams. So there's policy change, and as you read through the policies, you'll notice some language that specifically talks about maybe it was the principal that was investigating something. It will now say the principal and the threat assessment team working through those processes. So those are the substantive changes. There's a lot of verbiage changes, but that's really the gist of those 2 policy changes there. There's no changes to the student complaint process. That remains the same, 219. 220, the student expression policy. That is a large policy with a lot of changes, but it's a lot of essentially rewrite of language that was not too much changes, quite honestly. The big changes are what's in bold, and that really talks about the definitions of how students are distributing materials, and that what constitutes the ability for a student to distribute materials. And so it outlines a lot of process, and it outlines a lot of ability for a student to understand how they can express themselves, and also for a school district to make sure that there's balance and equal representation for student expression. So that policy is a good, solid policy, and allows a lot of guidance for that student expression piece, which can get very tricky and sticky at times. So that's a good policy updates there. And then the final 221, dress and grooming, that is just a policy review cycle. No recommended changes there for 221. Any questions about those 5 policies? Okay. And then finally, we have the 2025-2026 calendar for consideration this evening. This calendar was modeled off of essentially what we did this school year. We would be starting on Wednesday, August 20th, and we would end June 3rd, which would also be a Wednesday. The way the calendar falls this year, it allows actually for a 2-week break during the winter Christmas session. So we would have December 19th would be a half day, and that Saturday, December 20th would be the first day off. And that would run all the way through. The students wouldn't come back until Monday, January 5th. It's just the way that it kind of fell, but it's a really nice break for the students this year for that time. And then the spring break, Easter break would happen that week of March 30th to April 3rd. And we would be looking to do that as similar, where that would typically be a full week off, unless for some reason we would exhaust all our virtual snow days and we would resort to that. But I don't foresee that. The last few years we've been able to secure that whole week for spring break as well for our students. So it's a really nice flowing calendar this year. Everything just kind of, sometimes it happens like that with the days and the calendar actual physical dates match up, and just it's a really nice calendar this year. I did have a chance to run this by our student advisory council and or superintendent advisory council, and kind of met with them, and they took a glance at it, and everything looked good from the teacher perspective as well. So I feel really good about this calendar this year. Any questions on this? Great. That's the end of the items.
All right.
BCIU, Mrs. Hune.
Good evening, everyone. The last board meeting for the BCIU Board of Directors was held on Thursday, November 21st. The most exciting action the board took was to renew Dr. Hackman's contract. So she's been the executive director there. This is year 10, and she was with the organization prior to that. So just a fantastic leader, extremely good for public education in Berks County. And the board was thrilled to be able to hear that she's willing to commit in her executive director role through the end of the school year in 2029. So lots of consistency to look forward to. And again, real strong leadership. From a switching gears to financial perspective, Ms. Del Guerico, I'm sure you've already gotten a heads up about the general budget or general fund budget process. So that's consistent with what we've done for many, many years. And it'll fall in line with the meeting dates that we talked about a few minutes ago. Other things that I wanted to just quickly highlight, two things. The BCIU has a really strong communications team. I think we've actually hired them quite a few years ago to help us in our marketing efforts and things. Two things they're doing from a marketing perspective. They've launched a series, they're calling it a video blog, I guess, called Quick Connect. So again, for anybody who's interested in learning more about what all the BCIU does and all the programs and initiatives they offer, these Quick Connect short videos highlight a variety of things. So if you just want to learn for 5 minutes about something they do, there's lots of these available through the website and other social media. And then finally, there is an initiative across Berks County to help with the teacher shortage and trying to encourage folks who might be inclined to move their career into public education. It's called Level Up Berks, and it includes a 3-phase marketing campaign, which started a month or two ago and will run through the end of this school year as well. It's targeting kids in high school and college students who are pursuing degrees in education. It's targeting post-grad students seeking perhaps a second career in education. And then frankly, it's also targeting the entire general public in an effort to encourage interest in the teaching profession and try and sort of bring back some of the respect that as a profession has historically garnered. So keep an eye out while you're driving around the county if you see billboards as an example, or you may see some other social media kinds of pop-ups. That's all trying to help attack this issue of it's pretty hard to find good teachers and good substitute teachers as well. Those are the couple of things I wanted to highlight for the group. The next BCIU board meeting isn't until January 16th. We historically don't do a board meeting in December. Thank you.
BCTC, Mr. Right now.
BCTC doesn't have a meeting in November. Our next meeting is December 12th at the West Campus.
EITC, Mr. Garrett.
So we also do not have a meeting in November. Our next scheduled meeting is December 19th.
Cool.
Thank you. So on November 12th, the Pennsylvania School Board Association gave a presentation about their core priority issues that they are working towards. One of the main issues was advocating for safety and mental health dollars, but they're now proposing that they be in 2 separate buckets, which is interesting for us because we seem to understand that safety and mental health all go into one bucket. They're continuing to work on charter school reform and school safety improvements. One of the main ones that is going to be impacting our district is a security personnel mandate, which is to have 1 armed personnel. Originally, it was to be 1 armed personnel in every building. but we were able to get it changed to only be one per district. So we are working with the PSBA on that issue. The election summary, Republicans now control the Senate with 6 seats majority. Democrats control the House with 102 seats majority, with Republicans holding 101 seats. Another issue that has gained popularity is solar panels for schools. There's currently $20 million in competitive grants, and it was quite fascinating to hear about some of the interesting proposals that they were offering with this. One being that we put solar panels on our building, use the money that we are saving towards our electricity to purchase a school bus that would be run solely on electricity and solar panels. So that I thought was something that was pretty fascinating. And then we were also talking about the feasibility of mergers, how funding for 2 or more school districts to merge to form one single district might be the wave of the future, based on how funding is going for public schools. They are also excited about maintaining and expanding the free breakfast program and eliminating the school debt of school lunches and hoping to expand universal free lunch for all. Mr. Pottinger, as the co-chair, you always represent us so well. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Great job.
Okay, thank you.
Linked in your packet is the summary notes from between the 3 of us, Nicole, Laura, and I, as well as the PSBA presentation that was shared. If you want to dig into it deeper, that's the first one.
Perfect. Thank you. Policy committee, Mr. Reitner.
Nothing to report right now. Just refer to the agenda.
Perfect, thank you. Strategic planning and goals, Mrs. Eisenhardt.
The mid-year strategic goals will start over. The mid-year strategic goals will be shared at the January meeting.
All right, floor is still yours for negotiation and compensation.
We are currently exploring the support salary benefits.
Building and construction committee, Mr. Potter.
So still a lot of great progress happening over at the high school. If you haven't been over in a while, and you can just even pop around the back and drive around and take a look. They have the field cleared off right now. The track has all new cinder down, so the base of the track's starting to get established. So they are making some great strides. This cold weather is starting to slow things down now, but it's really neat to see the transformation over there. The project out here, they are almost done, but they went to install the final piece of railing and it didn't fit, so they had to go back and remanufacture it. So we now have been waiting for another 3 weeks for that to be finalized. So this is supposed to be done mid-September. So it'll get done soon, and we'll have it for this spring. But we're almost done. I'll keep you posted. Hopefully January.
Any additional?
Yes.
Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Hohenschel,
Yes.
Mrs. Huhn,
Yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Yes.
Mr. Sheets,
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Wallizer,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Good evening, everyone. This evening for the business and operations report, we'll start off with the bills list. For the general fund bills through this evening, we have a total of $802,122.21. For food service fund, we have a total of $52,540.60. We have no construction bills for approval. For capital reserve, we have a total of $9,898. And then we also have the financial reports through September 30th. Moving on to curriculum and technology, We're asking you to ratify an agreement with Ghetto Incorporated to add access control to the intermediate middle school stadium family bathroom at a cost of $1,900. So this was just like we did a lot of the door sensor and access upgrades for the doors. Now it'll be, electronic on a timer. If there's rentals or just field usage in general, we'll be able to set that to align with the activities going on instead of having to manually do that. Item 2, we're asking you to ratify a partnership with On Deck Marketing Agency to add a digital marketing bulletin board at Brandywine Heights High School for college marketing at no cost to the district. For facilities maintenance, we're asking you to ratify the proposal from WJM Engineering. They are providing the construction drawings for the proposed 2-story shed press box structure at a fixed fee of $8,500. This is essentially the work to design and document the construction facilities drawings, and so that we can go out to RFP and solidify the best price and structure. Item 2 is to approve the CoStar's proposal with Signature Signs. They're the one who did the LED board at the high school. So this is year 2 of that 3-year cycle to upgrade the signage at all 3 buildings. This is for the elementary school as presented in the amount of $39,434. When we did the district-wide equipment budget last year, we budgeted $40,000, so this is right in line with the anticipated costs. So they'll look to do that this spring, and then next year, and then during this budget cycle, we'll look to upgrade the intermediate middle school. So all 3 buildings have new signage. Item 3 is to ratify the change order with Ace Electric related to the high school track and field project, totaling $66,500. This is the electrical and data work for the drawings to really connect all the projects that were going on the back. So we had the main scope, which was the track and field, but we also had the lighting, the scoreboard, and we knew that there were some pieces that would have to be done via change order when the time came from Ace Electric to really do all the conduit and everything and tie the whole project together. We did have Musco had initially provided us a quote, and it was the higher rate, and we talked to Ace and they said we could beat that price. So when we approved the Musco quote, we initially went with the lower tier option. So item I is to ratify the updated roster of bus drivers for Christ Transportation. Item J is to ratify the lease agreement with KBS Solutions to lease a postage meter, scale, and ancillary pieces for the district. We currently have one now. It's $176 a month. That will be expiring. The ladies in my office did a really nice job of reaching out to different suppliers and vendors and soliciting other quotes, and really just the service aspect, and they were able to find KBS Solutions as the most effective provider, and also a nice savings of about $20 a month. Item K, so this is really a big one, to approve the agreement for the purchase and implementation of the CSIU financial information system effective December 1, but the go live date will be July 1 of 2025 for our district's financial, HR, payroll, staff portal software. So currently we use eFinance through the BCIU. Last year our goal was to essentially look into other softwares, and this is the one that we had interest in at the time. So the BCIU reached out to us. It was actually unplanned, but just ironic in the timing, saying they were going to discontinue offering eFinance. So us and Muhlenberg, who's the other district, will have to find a new financial software. So we're in the process of kind of shifting over. Tomorrow we have our kickoff meeting. And also there's quite a bit of a savings with it. We pay about $30,000 right now. We're anticipated to pay around $17,000. So it's a $13,000 savings. Item L is to approve the second one-year extension of the agreement between the district and Carol H. Gilbert Consulting to do food service consulting services as attached. All things stay the same. This will be the last year of the agreement and the eligible extensions. This will be year 5. They really do our nutrition, menu planning and nutritional analysis. Item M is to approve a lease agreement with the district and Shana Key Farms as our tenant to occupy and use the property adjacent to the high school for agricultural and related purposes beginning January 1. The current farmer reached out saying they were looking to kind of step back on their volume of farming, and then they proposed this tenant to take over their current lease agreement.
Nicole, if I can just add a few items. So Sheila Hoppus, who is one of the, it's a husband wife, she actually is also on our ag board. So it's a nice connection there supporting the ag program here. Not related in terms of the lease, but just nice to know. Also, Mrs. Hewen, you had suggested there's a lot of controversy down in the Ole Valley about using human waste. I did reach out to Sheila today. They do not do that, but she also said we can easily put that in the contract. So we did add a verbiage in the contract with a statement that that's not permitted with use of the land. So that was there. And then I think there's a question about how does $150 compare to other, and it really varies by the region. So if you go more north, Kutztown, Hamburg, where it's more shale, it might be lower. But if you go down to like Ole Valley, it might be higher because it's more rich soil, no rocks. So we're kind of in the middle. That seemed to be a very comparable to this general Rockland District, Long Swamp Township area.
Can I, since
Yeah, please. Yeah, we're on it.
follow up. So I lost it. Is it 2850? Where is the cost on here?
It's 150 per acre for 19 acres.
And that's per year,
Correct.
not per month.
Per year, right?
Right. So
Yeah.
the district to basically rent that 19 acres adjacent here gets roughly $3,000 a year in income.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, which doesn't to me seem much compared to what it cost us to buy that.
Right.
Not that we bought it with the intention to rent it and farm it, but that's why I was struggling. And admittedly, I know nothing about the cost of farming or the revenue, profit dynamics or any of that stuff. But to get a whole 19-acre field for $3,000 a year seems cheap to me.
So I think it is that cost dynamic. So
Okay.
the cost of fuel, seeds,
And they plan to grow corn.
and then harvest. I honestly am not sure if it's going to be corn. There'll probably be corn, soybeans, something along those lines.
But it is kind of cool that there's a connection. Maybe our ag program kids can.
And they have
we'll
kids,
create some bridges there in terms of learning opportunities and.
and they have children
Field trip
in the
for
school
next
district
door.
as well, which is nice. One's in high school, one's in middle school. So
Yeah.
some good connections there.
I definitely think that's a possibility. Like I'm friends with Sheila, and I actually was talking to her about this, and she is super excited about our ag program and seeing it flourish. So I think it's a very nice gesture, even if it might seem a little bit lower than what we will be paying. I think in the long run, they're going to do great things for us.
Good to know. Thank you.
And the last one, I'm asking the board to approve the contract with Christ Transportation to provide transportation services for the district effective July 1 through June 30 of 2030. They are actually only the second transportation contractor that the district has ever had. They took over providing services when Brandywine Transportation essentially sold. So we transferred that contract. So this is the first official contract that we'll have with Christ. And with that, I did invite them out this evening. So Lisa Shroy, I don't know if you want to say a few words. She manages our area, but I did kind of want to put a face to Christ Transportation. So since you've never met them. Yep, you're good.
So I'm Lisa Shroy. I'm the region operation for the Valley region. So I'm in charge of all the previous Brandywine contracts. So I just want to take time to thank Andrew, Nicole, and Paige, the entire staff and the board. Thank you. Of the Brandywine Heights School District for your faith and partnership in Christ Transportation. Christ Transportation has made a lot of progress here in the past year and a half, improving service and reliability in student transportation. We look forward to another 5 years of continuous improvement and remaining an integral part of Brandywine Heights student experience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And I can just add that I think the board that has been here and understands the change in dynamics and pain points that we had in the emails and the daily conversations that I was on the phone dealing with issues has all went away. They have transitioned beautifully. There's always, you're dealing with a lot of children and a lot of buses and a lot of vehicles. They have done a phenomenal job of organizing, of finding staff, of being responsive, of upgrading equipment, new radio systems to reach our buses that are in the far outlying areas. Lisa and I have been working together for many, many years now, since I've been superintendent. And she is a great advocate for understanding the needs of the district, but also balancing that out with the needs of the company. And it's been a really good relationship, and I'm happy to hear, hopefully, that this will go through this evening. Their willingness to work with us in terms of the contract costs allowed us to be able to present this to you this evening. So thank you for your willingness to do that and continue this contract.
Thank you.
Lisa, as a parent, I thank you for all that you have done to make our transportation for our students so much more flexible and fluid, and the communication I feel has been amazing between you and our district. We're going to hold you to that for the next 5 years. Don't go falling asleep on us the next 3 years or something. But I did want to thank you. It's so important to know that our children are getting to and from our school and to their home safely. And there's nothing more that we can ask than to have a great working relationship. So thank you for that.
Any additional comment or questions?
Mr. Wagman, I do have just a couple of quick follow-up items. Just by protocol, items L, M, and N are contract approvals, it looks like, but the dollar amount, the value of the contract is not stipulated on the agenda. Certainly that won't hold up things in the forthcoming vote, but I would just ask if we could be consistent about including in the public agenda document the value of what it is the board is authorizing or approving. One quick question or comment on the on-deck marketing deal. That sounds kind of cool. I don't know if there's history there, like where did this company come from? I noticed it's out of Canada. So, that it's interesting business model from my perspective. They're just, bringing parties together and using free location that we provide to generate profit for themselves. So it's kind of an interesting marketing advertising model. Somewhere along the way, I read that we're going to focus on local colleges to make it pertinent. I would just encourage us to think broadly. We do have a lot of our students who go to local colleges, Penn State and Kutztown and Alvernia and Albright. But we also have plenty of students who would be intrigued to see advertising and might be encouraged to look more broadly and more diverse. So let's not be too narrow-minded in terms of what colleges and universities we allow to advertise, as long as the content message is appropriate.
Yeah. Mrs. Connect had looked into this before she went on maternity leave, and
yeah,
she kind of gave me the whole debrief. And I forget how many colleges are connected to it right now, but the really neat piece is we have capability to do our own advertising on this too. So if there's let's say a 2-year trade school, we can put that on there. If there's messaging that we need to put on there to, it's time to sign up for this for the guidance department, we have capabilities to customize it internally for the district as well, which is nice. And it's one of those that if you've ever been into, I guess the best way I can think is like a trade show or maybe a hotel lobby where they're tall rectangular type, they almost like a TV they turned on its side. That's kind of what it's going to be on a stand in the district. So we're excited about this. It's worth giving it a shot, and we have the ability to get at it if we need to. So
yeah. Sounds great. And then just one final comment, the item K about the the new financial information system. So just want to acknowledge, Nicole, that is a heavy lift. System conversions, system transitions are difficult in and of themselves, but this has all of the most critical information about the district. So keep us posted about how you're going to manage that, because I get that it's a big lift, and I know you know, you and your team are already taxed quite a bit in terms of projects and initiatives, and there's really no room for error here, sadly. So good luck. We're here if you need us. Ask for what you might need in terms of support.
I would say I actually feel, I don't say a little confident, but in my prior district, we actually made the transition from another platform to CSIU.
Okay.
So for better for worse, I know what I'm getting into, which can be helpful or scary. But yeah, I think starting now, obviously there's a lot of checks and balances and backups. So, and the BCIU, while we are transitioning in a way, they have been more than willing to, you know, help check in on us. So they're also available as well as a resource. So I think we'll be okay.
Good.
So
Good. I'm sure you will.
Thank you.
I have a question on the press box. Are we anticipating building our own press box now?
So we had looked to go more of like a prefab press box or prefab shed.
Mm-hmm.
The price got right to that point of needing to go out for bid.
Okay.
And so we honestly delayed longer than we probably should have, probably like a month, trying to figure out which way to go with this.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately we ended up talking to a bunch of different engineering firms. Schlall had given us one, Ms. Delgarco knew somebody. And so we had gotten secured a couple quotes. So the idea now is with this firm is they'll be able to bid it and then we'll be able to put that bid out or that spec out for a bid. And the idea is that it still may be a prefab, but at least it's built and we can do it through the official bidding process now and get the best deal. And there's not vendors out there that are more like a CoStar's route or someone pre-bid to be able to do this. We couldn't find any, at least. And the ones that we were talking to didn't have that capability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of forced us to have to make a design and go that direction. That was coupled with, in talking with LTL, who is the firm that Longsaw Township uses for zoning and permits and things like that. They were going to require us to have the drawings to be able to do something like this.
Okay. It just seemed like a high price compared to
The overall cost of the project or the building structure?
Well, I mean, I have engineerings drawn for houses and it doesn't cost this much.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I was just like, that's a lot. I mean, the most I've ever spent on a full house engineering drawing with structural work is $5,000. So to see that price, I was like, that just seems high for a 20 by 20 shed or whatever they're doing. So I'm not saying that that's depending on what extent they're doing. I don't know, but it was just surprising to see that price. So, and then I didn't know once we start the build out of it, will that be higher than a prefab something as well, so.
Yeah. Do you want to
Yeah, so I was gonna say, when we went through this process, we actually had 3 different vendors. One provided us a price quote, and they were $22,000.
To build or to draw?
Draw.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm very surprised at that. It's interesting. It makes me just wonder if they're like taking advantage of our position, I guess.
Well, there are differences residential versus commercial, but I would echo your observation that we've done engineering drawings for commercial things.
Yeah.
And this seems like a big ticket given what it is they're designing.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
I
not
know
a complicated building with bathrooms and level stairs.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a fancy shed.
Yeah. It's just
Is
interesting
it going
to
to be
me.
heated?
So
Like it will be heated.
Use of all the electronics. 2 stories.
2 stories.
Oh, it is 2 stories.
It'll have house all the electronics in there, so it'll be heated and cooled.
Okay.
Because of the
So how many square foot are we talking about?
20 by 24,
But 2 stories.
Uh, 672.
to be exact.
It's still pretty small. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. What do you? I was trying to look it up. Do you remember what our when we pulled that press box out, what that price was, so we know what, at least have an idea of where we were?
I can look it up.
Yeah, I couldn't find it quickly in my email, but I think we had it on paper.
The seating though, I don't know that it was separate.
I found an email where it said we pulled the press box out. So
In order to save some money.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Have we asked for a specification of specific materials that it would be made out of? You know, is it gonna be T111 siding, or is it gonna be block, or is it gonna be something else? Have we told them what we want in that regard?
That's what the designer's going to be building, working with us to design. Yeah. So we haven't yet, because this is just approving to create the design. Right.
White block, or is it gonna be
yeah,
With metal siding or T111, yeah.
it also says on here that you know, some of that stuff is not included, like the electrical, plumbing, exterior, all that, right? Is that what it says here? Not included on the scope. Lighting, electrical, plumbing, interior finishes, data, which sounds like we need that stuff in there. We need to know where those are going to be.
He's the answer, man.
All right, Dean.
Save you, Dean. This is
Sorry.
your world.
The electrical portion is included in the electrical engineering design that we already paid for.
Okay.
Committed to, and there will be no plumbing in it.
Uh-huh.
So it's a two-story commercial structure. There has to be egress plans and things like
Mhm.
that associated with it, because it's a commercial building. So,
Probably fire too, fire hazard type stuff.
right.
Yeah. Okay, so the engineering, the electrical plans that we've already paid for are including a press box that we took out of our plans?
He's including the electrical engineer. Once we get the drawings from WJM, the structural drawings, the electrical engineer will update those with the electrical, and that money's already included in what we already paid them for that.
Okay. Okay.
And maybe if I can just take this one step bigger picture. If you think about the stadium, we were going to put new bleachers in, and the press box is going to be incorporated in that. That's what was designed. We pulled the bleachers out because they were too expensive. In doing that, when we did the scoreboard and everything else, we realized we're going to need some kind of place to house all the stuff. So at that point, it didn't make sense to put it where the bleachers were. So we looked at putting it across the field, which is now kind of pulling the electrical piece in to get the electrical over there. And that's why that's part of the electrical contract to build that.
So the two-story press box is going on the other side now.
Other side. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's how all this kind of came about.
Right, the concrete for it is already in Schlau's proposal. That's already in his proposal.
Okay.
Electrical design is already in that proposal. The electric to the press box is already in that change order that we just looked at from ACE. So it's just going to be internal wiring that has to be done.
Okay.
It also sounds like there's going to be some high-tech equipment stored in there. So from a security perspective, typically a shed doesn't have a whole ton of building security, not real hard to break into if you really wanted to get in, but it sounds like we may have to have some elevated security to protect that. investment
Security
equipment.
design is not included, it says.
I did not.
We landmines around it.
Sinkholes.
Watch your step.
I did talk to Mrs. Connect about that. She's already worked on adding cabins we've already worked with Nimble IT about the IT, to have that aspect of it connected into it as well.
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, yeah, to run the cables.
There's also in the ACE change order is the conduits getting out to the building to get IT. With that fiber out there and be able to support any, like, Mr. Coninger said, just the security and things like that. Plus, if we want to live stream things, we'll be able to have cameras in there to live stream games and stuff too. So it'll be exciting.
That's cool.
Consider it, want us to do some more research and pull it.
I just want to know what the end price is. Well, like if we pay $8,000 and then it comes out that this is $100,000 over what we could spend, we're out $8,500. Like I know it's pennies for what we're doing, but I kind of need a budget. Like when I know what I'm paying for engineering, I know what the cost of the full project's going to be because of that. So if we don't know what the full cost of the building is going to be, how do we know that this is going to be worth it for us?
So we should probably do it reverse and tell them what we want the building to be.
Yeah,
theoretically, that's what
yeah,
you're asking.
yes.
What are we
When I
willing to
go in
spend
with an engineer, I'm very specific on everything that needs to be done because otherwise, I mean, I know this because it happened to me. I didn't tell them to do something and they did something standard and it ended up costing me a lot of money because I had to rip windows out, put new egress windows in that I normally wouldn't have to, but because he put them in the drawing, I had to. So if we don't know what we're expecting, we need to know what it's going to cost so that we give them the right ideas to draw.
What is the budget for this new initiative across the field?
We have, so I'm looking at Nicole, ballpark 50,000. The one we were looking at was about 23, but it put us over that 24. It put us over that threshold, which is what started this whole process. So I would say somewhere in,
You're going to be bidding on it anyway.
we will now because of this with drawings, yeah. And I think that's the key with working with this firm is kind of what Mr. Hefner's point was, is we can tell them what we want and like mark a number to your point, and that will help them figure out materials and those sort of things.
We provided them with an example of what we're looking for. Talking this through, so they have a picture of kind of what our mindset is, what Mr. Coninger and I talked through. So basically design this. The biggest part of it is when we did the construction drawings to meet the code requirements.
Yeah, but we need to know that is our vision affordable too? Is our vision in the budget for what we want? So they can look at a picture and draw it and make it look really nice, but is it really what we can afford? So
And I think the answer to that is yes, because we've already started that conversation with a partnering company that's how we got the drawings, that's how we got the price originally, but it's over that mark.
and the company that does it, like when we got a prefab garage, they gave us the drawings to submit to the township to go to LTL. Like I didn't have to go get an engineer for my 2-story. It was given by the prefab building that built it.
Correct, but because this is commercial,
You need
LTL
requires
us to have
okay,
it.
yeah.
That's what threw the whole. That's what caused part of this.
But a
month-long
commercial,
process.
like someone building this commercial they're building these prefab, they would be commercial anyway. They don't supply the commercial drawings for it included.
No, because they're more residential.
Oh, we're not going with like a press box company.
Correct.
Okay.
It's more. It looks more of like a carriage barn.
Okay.
Like a 2-story.
And we're making it converting. Okay.
So it looks more. For me, it looks more like it's.
So
like
we're
a
kind
barn,
of working in
looks like a-
reverse. We know what we want and we're going to tell the engineer to match the drawings.
Yep.
And they said for that price, which seems silly because they could now take what is already given and just make them commercial plans. So that makes me question the price even more. Sorry.
Again, we had two
Yeah.
numbers in front of us. The other one was a lot more.
Yeah, it's
But,
okay. If you did your work, that's perfectly fine. I get it. So
Sorry.
I hate the backward world of the politics behind it. So
It's, again, why it took so long to get there, because I was trying
Yeah.
to find an angle around not doing it.
yeah,
But-
okay.
Any other questions, concerns? Hearing none, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Hohenschult,
Yes.
Mrs. Hume,
Yes.
Mr. Reitenauer,
Yes.
Mr. Sheets,
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Wallizer,
Yes.
Mrs. Eisenhart,
Yes.
Mr. Wagman,
Yes.
9 yeas, the motion passes.
All right, superintendent report. Can I get a motion in a second, please?
Motion. All right, couple items
under superintendent report. We have 2 overnight field trips. Item A is to approve the 5th grade camp experience to the YMCA on South Mountain. This is an annual tradition. We have about 100 students that are going to be going next year. So item A is to approve the field trip. Item B is to approve the YMCA contract to do the field trip there. That kind of goes hand in hand in tandem. They did the 5th grade experience this past year, and while they were up there, they asked if they could look at the 5th grade team had asked if they can start looking at the contract already for next year, and said, "Yeah, let's get it locked in and secure the date so that we can get that in front of you as the board to be able to approve that for next fall." So those 2 items go hand in hand. Item C is to approve the first reading of Guitar 2. So we've had a Guitar 1 curriculum, and that goes in tandem with our woodshop class where they design and create an electric guitar, and then they take the guitar class to play the electric guitar. Now there's been so many kids that have taken that are so enthused about it that it's grown into Guitar 2 now. So that's the curriculum for Guitar 2. And then item D is the 4th or the 2nd overnight field trip. This is for the new ag program and the FFA. This is to go to the 2025 Ag Cooperative Establishes Success ACES conference. It is on February 1 to February 2. There were a couple questions that were posed about this. If the cost is $125 a student, what we recognized at the very beginning of this meeting with the acknowledgement of the PARS organization, where they had given us a grant of $1,975. That acknowledgement allows us to use that grant to pay for FFA programming. So this will help to offset that cost. If that doesn't get used for that purpose and for some other purpose, we can also look at the help from the Ag Committee, as well as fundraising, and finally students just paying outright for that. It is only 9 students to go. It's more the leadership core group that would be going to this. They'd be using vans to get there, and it's located in Hershey, PA this year. It is encouraged to go to this. There's a host of different options and dates to go. The February 1st to 2nd was the one that looked most promising for that event, for our team, for our students. Coupled with that, at the Pennsylvania Farm Show in the beginning of January, our students are going to be officially recognized as an FFA chapter in the state, and they'll be getting all their jackets, which is a really cool opportunity for our kids. So it's an exciting part. Any questions on those 4 items?
Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Hohenschult,
Yes.
Mrs. Hume,
Yes.
Mr. Reitenauer,
Yes.
Mr. Sheets,
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Wallizer,
Yes.
Mrs. Eisenhart,
Yes.
Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Wagman,
Yes.
9 yeas, the motion passes.
Personnel report. Can I get a motion in a second, please?
Second.
Sorry. Who are we putting down? Rock, paper, scissors for it?
It doesn't matter.
We'll put Wallace there since she hasn't been on the record yet.
That sounds good.
All right. Couple items under personnel report. We have the resignations of co-curricular coaches. This on specifically is the high school cheer coach, Jenna Mest. So we're looking to make that shift. You'll notice that later on when we get to C4A co-curriculars. It's not officially noted yet, but on the attachment, you'll see that there's a vacancy there. The assistant cheer coach is looking to move up into that role, Renee Geiger, and so that'll create a background. She let us know today, but because of the 24-hour rule, we couldn't add it. So we'll ratify that in January. We have a couple changes of status, and this is all connected to Mr. Strohecker's move into the assistant principal position. So Mrs. Mackenzie Kistler was going to go from that 8th grade learning support to the 4th grade classroom. She was all set to do that, and we went through the interviews for a learning support teacher and had trouble finding one. So she was willing to stay in that capacity for the rest of the year. Which was very gracious on her part. It's pretty awesome that she was willing to do that, knowing that she went into the learning support role, not really being her forte, but she did it this year as a way to help the district out, and she's willing to stay there. So she is looking then at the end of this year to move into an elementary position, but she's willing to stick it out for the rest of this year for us in an emergency permit situation. Item 2 then is Mrs. Corey Zimmerman, who is coming back from maternity leave. She was originally going into a 3rd grade learning support position. And then with Mackenzie staying in the 8th grade, we were going to have her go to the 8th grade. And so eventually it all shook out that she's going to go to the 4th grade. And Mrs. Logan McAllister, who is currently in for Corey Zimmerman in 3rd grade learning support position, is going to stay in that position. So all in all, essentially what this means is that it's the least disruptive for our kids out of everything, because the 4th grade classroom of Mrs. Strohecker is going to get replaced by Corey Zimmerman coming back from maternity leave. The 8th grade doesn't change, and the 3rd grade doesn't change. So there's a lot of moving parts there. I just explained, but it's because of good people willing to stay in roles, knowing what's best for kids, and that's pretty awesome. So again, huge kudos to Mrs. Kistler for her willingness to do that, which allowed all this to happen. So. We have an appointment, which is Mrs. Susan Fredinger, who's going to take on the food service role. And that's part of the whole domino effect of Linda moving into retiring and moving people around in that capacity. We also have the co-curriculars I talked about already under 4A. We had the winter athletic event workers under 4B. Under F1, we had a one-time stipend for Mr. Ginich, who served in the vacant athletic director position from when Mr. Lapp left in just November, the beginning of November. So from November 4th until December 6th, the end of this week, Mr. Ginich has been serving as the athletic director. That's why he's not here right now, because he's over at the high school boys basketball game. He also, Mr. Pinelli will be starting with us on Monday the 9th. So that's exciting for us in the athletic world. And then finally, we have to ratify the retirement incentive with the Brandywine Heights Education Association. That provides 2 benefits. It provides the opportunity for $20,000, which would go into 403B or health insurance, or to get paid out for their sick days, and it'd be at a rate of $140 per day of their unused sick day. And again, the choice to go into health insurance or 403B option. Both of those retirement incentives, they have to notify us before January 1st. And then that will allow us to help us create some decisions on staffing for next year and ways to garner some savings as we look into the budget for next school year, which we're looking for any savings we can. So this is a good opportunity. So that's the personnel report.
Just a quick question on the security guard. A month or 2 ago, there was a discussion, board approval. Can you just give us a status update? Because I can't remember when the green light go time for that individual is.
Thank you very much. In fact, I forgot to share that in last week delay update. I think I forgot to put that in. So we had a meeting right before Thanksgiving. It was Tuesday or Wednesday with the firm. They had its person lined up. That person fell through. They got another one. I'm really excited for this person to be starting with us. She's going to start December 16th. It is a female officer, which I think is going to be really good for our community. That person will be certified with all the credentials to be able to be basically an officer, to be able to do citations and everything with the school district. So she had some personal conflicts that would have allowed her to start for a couple days and then be off for a period of time. We decided just to do it with a fresh start. So December 16th will be her first day.
At some point, would you be willing to introduce her to
Yes,
the board?
definitely. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Reitner,
Yes.
Mr. Sheets,
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Wallizer,
Yes.
Mrs. Eisenhart,
Yeah, that's become an annual tradition, and I greatly appreciate the board suggesting that. So we did budget some monies for that for this year. Actually, Miss Alberta Weller has been already looking into that and getting some pricing for us. We've looked at a couple options, and so we are well in the way of looking for Chick-fil-A sandwiches again for our staff on behalf of the board, and everyone's very appreciative of that. So thank you for that and suggesting that, and we will move forward with that notion. So appreciate that.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, can I get a motion and a second to adjourn? Thank you, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Yes, yes.